Todd, I know it's a team sport and all that, but last year Walter, first team All-American, first time. Reuben's kind of trending towards some historic stuff here. How much do you the pride you take in those kind of things, even though they're not really about the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're products of, winning and being successful, and it all goes together. Like, we need our guys individually to play really well for us to win games and achieve what we want to do. So if we are doing those things, which, knock on wood, 8 of the last 9, we've been playing well, our guys are going to start getting that individual recognition. Last year was a great example of that. Our 3 perimeter players were not we didn't come to the season last year with them being expected to be drafted, but because we won at the level we did, and obviously they were a huge part of it, they ended up getting drafted, and that's just how it works. When you win, the rest of it, the rest of that stuff will take care of itself. And we feel like Reuben had a great week. We're hoping he gets SEC Player of the Week this week, and as we continue on, if we have success, these guys will get a lot of that individual recognition.
He had a long list going into the offseason of things to work on, obviously. Rebounding was always pretty solid, but just how has he just kind of elevated other aspects of his game, and is the rebounding kind of like come along for the ride a bit?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think his defense and rebounding last year were really, really good. Whether they were appreciated as much as they should have been, they were a huge part of why we were able to be successful. And this year, he was always good at putting the ball in around the rim. He shot a high percentage last year, but he's really elevated his offensive game to become a more complete player. Being able to play with his face to the basket a little bit, handling double teams. He made some incredible passes in tight spaces on Saturday that led to, I think he got 2 and 1s for Tommy. So usually teams would think they could double him and get him off balance, and now he's handling that well. His free throws, as everybody can attest to, has really improved. I mean, that was, I think, the swing play of the game when he made all 4 free throws, and then we come back and hit a 3 to get a 7-point play. But it's, again, like, it's no secret. Boogie started playing better. X more consistently. Reuben's taking a huge jump, and now we're playing really, really well. So when we've gotten these guys all on the same page and playing well, the results are as follows.
How much has Reuben improved his understanding of what it takes to defend in this league without fouling? I mean, that's arguably one of the areas that, I don't know if you'd say would, has taken a massive leap there, but he's able to stay on the court, picking up a couple fouls, and not putting himself in foul trouble.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of that is his conditioning. Like, he's in much better shape. And he was in great shape, but just, like, again, a year later, even more improved that way. And, he was a guy that last year, it was probably hard to play him more than 20 minutes because he's playing so hard. And to your point, foul trouble, all these things. Now, I mean, we're able to rip him 25, 30 minutes a game, and he looks in great shape. He's not making, silly fouls due to fatigue or anything like that. So, again, just another great example of him, growing as a player.
LSU had lost 4 in a row, and they beat Missouri 78-70 the other night. What did you see in that game that they were able to do well and improve upon that you got to be mindful of tomorrow night?
I think LSU is pretty good. They've been without DJ Thomas for a while, and he's a very good point guard, and so it takes him a little bit to get comfortable and figure out how are we going to play without this guy. They've jumped. They had one kind of stinker in league, but other than that, they've been consistent and pretty good. Played Texas A&M really tough on the road early, and now people are seeing that Texas A&M is pretty dang good. Hard to do that. They had a big lead against Kentucky at home last week, and they should have won that game. So they're 1-4, whatever, but they could be 3-2, and they there's a lot of 50-50 things when you look at their team, and they're good. They're big. They're talented. Their front court will be the biggest front court we've seen in a couple weeks, and I think the key for us, and we talked about it a lot with our guys yesterday, we'll do it again today, is like, this is a spot where we're finally starting to get some appreciation and some recognition, and we cannot allow it to change our approach. Like, we've been pretty good with our back against the wall these last couple of weeks, and we can't rest or be satisfied for a second, because this LSU team is really good, and if we are that way, it's not going to go the way we hope it does.
Of all the things you guys did well Saturday, where does 3-point shooting rank for you? Just, they were leading the league in 3-point defense, and you guys had obviously struggled and had a season high on Saturday, and outshot them as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was a big part of the game, obviously. We needed every single one of those to win. And, I think for the most part, we got some good looks again. Like, we did a great job on our baseline out of bounds, getting some 3-point attempts up. And then X obviously hit some big ones. One late clock one in the first half, and obviously the big one with under a minute to go. And as I told the team, like, we did a really good job in big games. There's some times where you just need guys to step up and make some plays. And our guys did that on Saturday, both on the offensive end with that 3, and then on the defensive end getting 2 stops in a row. But the 3-point shooting and then our advantage on the glass, I think, is, and our free throw shooting being really good were the separators for us.
Back to Reuben, is it surprising that he's become the best all-around big man in the league?
Is it surprising?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't ever want to put a cap on him because he's an incredible dude, man, and he works so hard, and he's smart. He's got the physical tools, he's got the mental tools. Like, he's got a lot of things going for him. So, like, we anticipate him continuing to get better, and he's definitely made a huge jump, But I think all 3 of our front court guys are playing at an insanely high level right now, and Reuben's just producing, offensively on the glass, and like I think Kondo's playing as well as he's ever played, just being a little bit of a point forward for us and running a lot of offense, and then Tommy's doing what he's doing. So all 3 of those guys playing great. But yeah, like I think Reuben's kind of entered into that realm now where I think he's going to be close to the top of the scouting report every night when we go against these teams.
I guess what I'm saying, when you saw him in Washington, Washington State, did you envision that he could
Get to this
get
level.
to this level? Yeah.
I don't know if we thought for sure he would, but we thought it was within the range of outcomes. Like, we thought his production there as a freshman, and obviously we tried to get him on the front end and failed. But like we thought he was pretty special, and he didn't start freshman year, but he produced. Like, he was efficient, a great rebounder, shot blocker. So we felt like we could get him in our program and he even get a little older, that he would continue to get really good.
He didn't even start playing, 2018?
Yeah, we like those big guys that don't start playing until later, that like to play other sports first.
You joked a little bit after the game, but have you convinced Xavier to consider number 9?
I think he's going to stick with 1, man, because he's a hard-minded kid, and he's like, I didn't just play well because of that. Like, he wants to continue to, rock 1, which again, like I don't care at all. It's not something that I worry about a lot, but again, like I think what was pretty cool about Saturday, like that's something that is a little thing that can affect your team's mental a little bit, and if you have some mentally weak guys, it could be a concern. And our guys' ability to just say like, whatever, we're just gonna go hoop, Boogie wearing Coop's jersey. Like, we looked like an AU team, man. We looked like an AU team out there. Some guys forgot his jerseys, other guy shows up late, whatever, and then we just played really well. So I was just really proud of the way our guys just played through it.
Did Coop recoup any NIL from?
I think that's a conversation that him and Boogie had. I'll let them talk about it.
Not to have you criticize another coach here, but that LSU Kentucky
Weird start.
I know. Well, caveats in the beginning.
Yeah.
That LSU Kentucky finish. They inbound, the baseline, and they're defending the inbounder. And if you're drawing that scenario up, are you telling your guys maybe defend in the half court 5v4 to limit the catch and shoot attempts there?
I don't think you can second guess the decision to put a guy on the ball at all. I mean, you don't want that guy to get a free look and sit back there and be comfortable. You probably want to impact a throw a little more, but I mean that was a crazy play, man. It was just a crazy play. You listen to Kentucky's team talk about it after. It was supposed to go to Owe. The pass was 40 feet away from where Owe was. So I don't know if that's really what they wanted. I think, and we talk about it a lot upstairs. Like the best way to be consistent in terms of winning close games is to not play in them, and that was a great example of that. LSU was up all game. They let Kentucky sneak back. Last 4 minutes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They get that lead. I think they missed 2 free throws and then give that up. Like they could have won that game. I don't know if they deserved to win it. They could have won it. I think, but again, like that's a situation where in a close game you're going to be criticized or applauded for a decision you make on the last play when there's 70 other possessions that are impacting the result.
I know you guys expected some of this out of Zay before the season started, but just the way that he's defended, I think your on-off defensive splits with him are
Pretty good.
pretty darn good. Just was that sort of the next thing, the main thing with Zay, just being consistent on that end?
Yeah, and I think for Zay, we definitely expected him to impact the team this year, and we have good players, and him and CJ were going at it back and forth. They couldn't really get ahead of each other, and so neither of them got comfortable. And Zay had a couple good practices, and we kind of just said, listen, we're going to go with this guy in the league, and he's answered the bell, man. He's been fantastic. You go to that game on Saturday, he plays 20 minutes, 14 points, 6 rebounds, I think, or something like that, but just really impacting the game in a positive way. And I think, he's a very physical young man. He's a great athlete. Like, he makes one of those wow plays a game where you're just like, holy crap, like, how did he do that? I thought he played his most poised game offensively that he's played. Just, you know, reading closeouts really well, knocking down open shots when he had them, getting to the foul line. And, you know, his elevated play has just made it easier on everybody else. It's made our rotation more consistent. I think everybody's more comfortable. So for him to be playing at this level has been a huge reason as to why we've made a jump as a team over these last couple of weeks.
And then you guys talked about kind of shot diet and like your selection. I think you're second in efficiency in your last 10 games
Yeah.
offensively. How much of that do you think is shot selection and then just maybe Xavier and Boogie getting more comfortable?
Yeah, I think it's we've kind of figured out who we are and how we want to play. Reuben deserves a lot of credit for that too, because we're able to play off of him out of the post, you know, and so now he's using possessions down there and taking pressure off the other guys. And, you know, he went from probably using about 16% of the possessions to like 22, 23 over these last couple of games. That's been a huge lift for us. So, you know, Reuben making a huge jump, Isaiah impacting in our guards, lifting a little bit, you know, has turned a perceived weakness of our team. You know, the offensive end, as you said, we've been the number 2 offense in America over the last 10 games. So, you know, and that's without insane amount of three-point shooting still. So again, we feel like we have room to grow there. And, you know, we expect Rube to continue to produce the way he has. And if these other guys can keep lifting us up, we're gonna be in good
Do you
shape.
think teams will stop leaving them open at the foul line?
Rube at the nail? I don't know. You can ask him here in a second how he feels about getting those elbow catches. But that was a big time jumper
Yeah.
that he hit. I think it was kind of a 50-50 call on the charge also. Like, I think the guy did a good job, but he was still kind of moving forward before as Reuben was leaving his feet. So that could have been a 50-50 call going the other way. But you know, as you guys know, like his ability to be a really impactful player on offense has made us a really, really good team over these last couple of weeks.
Was there a, go ahead, please.
Coach, after 2 wins on the road, what is the message to the team ahead of, again, being back at home against LSU?
We can't relax, you know. I think for the first time all year, we're in a position where we're finally starting to get praised, and people are starting, hey, team of the week, Florida. Hey, this team might be, you know, championship level. Like, we just can't feed into that. We have to still have the mentality that we had after we were 5-4 when we lost to Missouri, when everybody's like, man, this Florida team is not very good. And if we approach it that way, and go out and try to, you know, impact the game with our physicality and our execution and take pride in those things, we'll be in good shape. But if we relax, we're not. So that's what we'll talk. That's what we talked about yesterday, and we'll talk about it again today.
Well, was there a breakout performance or kind of like goes on moment with Reuben here that just comes to mind where it's like you just noticed he was
For me,
a different guy?
For me personally, it was in our scrimmage against Illinois. So that wasn't, you know, seen or widely discussed, but I think he had 17 and 12 or something like that in that game, and similar moves to late in the Tennessee game where we were able to isolate him in the post, and he was facing up and spinning on guys and just put him in the basket. And after that game, Illinois staff was like, wow, we didn't know Reuben had that, you know, in his capabilities, but it was, again, a product of his work in the offseason and just continuing to grow. And so that was, you know, a moment where, like, man, this guy can really, really take off, and had some really good moments early on in the year. But again, and part of it was my fault, and part of it was us just getting comfortable. We just weren't getting enough touches on the block to start the year. And now, you know, he's given me no choice but to throw the ball into him consistently on the block, because he's not only is he scoring, but he's making really good decisions. And as I said, man, there's no secret why we've continued to make a jump. He's been a big part of it.
Cool.
Thanks, Todd.
All right. Thanks, guys.
First time being